It is Y105, Dubuque's #1 hit music station. My name is Steve Pulaski, and my next guest has a story fit for a movie. He's a former mobster whose time in prison led him to writing a cookbook by hand comprised of recipes from his personal life. Beyond a cookbook, it houses information on weight loss and healthy coping mechanisms he himself employed while incarcerated. The book is called MOBB, Cookbook and Diet. It's available at rmob.com. That's 2 B's in MOBB. And the author is Frankie Spice Morelli. How are we today, Frankie?
We're doing good. And you can also get it on Amazon as well.
Before we talk the book, I'm just curious, what was the last dish you had that's recipe is included in the book, and when did you have it?
Well, I had spaghetti and meatballs yesterday. Spaghetti with San Marzano tomato sauce and meatballs Magnifico yesterday.
We're going to get hungry talking about this book. I can already tell, Frankie.
Right.
What is the MOBB Cookbook and Diet, and how did it come to be?
Well, basically, I had a great deal of experience in the food business. I owned an award-winning restaurant, and then I had an international pasta company where we sold pasta and sauce all over the United States and Canada. And basically, I took my company public. It did really well. And then I sold out and got into stocks, and that's where I got into trouble and ended up in the federal detention facility in Philadelphia. And that's where I got to meet a lot of real mafia guys like Nicky Scarfo Jr., who took a liking to me. He checked me out, told the gangs to stay away from me. And Nicky himself, on Halloween night 1989, took 8 bullets to the chest and lived. So he was quite a character. And his dad, Little Nicky, was head of the mafia in Atlantic City in Philadelphia. I was also friends with Frankie the who allegedly whacked a few guys, Tommy Guns, and then black mafia that I was friends with too, like Tyree the Gangster Scott, who was a member of the Crips since he was 8 years old, and Get Paid Spade, who was a shot caller for the Crips. So I became friends with a lot of people like that.
A lot of colorful names right off the top of your head right there, Frankie. I love it. Can I ask how long you were incarcerated?
Yes. I was at Philadelphia for 38 months, which is a maximum security facility. Then I was at Camp Inglewood for about a year. So I was incarcerated a little less than 5 years. Then I finally got home confinement under the Second Chance Act that Donald Trump passed.
Did anyone you meet in prison introduce you to any new recipes or maybe take the book in a different direction than you thought?
Not really. I had inspiration about exercise and such because they finally made me a suicide companion because I was good with people. And I found out for people to change their lives, there are 3 key ingredients, okay? Number 1 is positive thinking. If you don't have positive thoughts, you're never going to turn your life around. And I was having to see a psychologist and a psychiatrist because I was so depressed. They had me on Rama. So I said, well, hey, I'm going to go home and see my family, which is 2,000 miles away. So first, I started exercising considerably. I started thinking positive, writing the book. And then I got off of all the medications. And but you have to do it yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. So my book, which is a coffee table book, it's very exciting. It's got beautiful color pictures, and everybody that gets it say they can't put it down because it's different than any other cookbook. Every recipe tells a story. It's big. It's easy to read. It's got colorful stories about real-life mafia guys, not made up, but real stories. It's got stories about other people that ended up in prison because they were abused as kids and were on drugs, and they turned their lives around. And it's even got a story about one lady that was diagnosed with autism at 3, yet she's done more than most people have done in 100 lifetimes. She's a supermodel, been in several beauty pageants, sang at Madison Square Garden. So it basically shows that anybody can turn their lives around. But it all starts with a mindset, exercise, and healthy eating. And you can eat food and even cheat on certain days if you eat in moderation, exercise, and just get the attitude, I can do it. And that's what our book is about.
He's Frankie Spice Morelli, author of MOBB, Cookbook and Diet. This is probably a loaded question, Frankie, but I have to know, at least from your perspective, what are some of the fundamental rules when it comes to Italian cooking?
Well, number 1, simplicity is the best. A lot of people, when they make their sauce, they overspice it and they put in way too much. But our sauce is very simple. We use San Marzano tomatoes, and San Marzano tomatoes are consistent, and they're the best tomatoes on earth. And the simpler, the better. So again, simplicity is key, especially in Italian cuisine. And you don't have to be Bobby Flay to make really good meals. Even the designer of my book, I told her which tomatoes to use, and she says, "I've never had sauce so good, and your sauce is so easy to make." And that's the key, is make it simple. And our recipes are very, very good. We beat a famous celebrity chef in a cookbook showdown by an independent third party person that I never met. And so we're getting really, really good reviews. Our last book, we had 230 five-star reviews, and I think only one 4-star review. And it's something that you can put on your living room. You can show your friends. And it's entertaining because life needs to be entertaining. Every recipe tells a story, and it's about hope and inspiration also. So it's got a meaning behind it.
Beyond this cookbook, what's next for Frankie Morelli?
Well, I've got a couple more books. I've got one called The Psych Ward, which is about my experience as a suicide companion. And then I have another one I'm working on called The Outlaws of Wall Street, which is a cross between 50 Shades of Grey and The Wolf of Wall Street on steroids, about the real-life characters I dealt with after I sold my food business. So it's kind of exciting, the things that I've been working on. And I've had a lot of friends and family support me in my endeavors, which is great.
Truly wish I could talk to you for longer, Frankie, but he is Frankie Spice Morelli, the author of MOBB, Cookbook and Diet. I want to give you the final word to promote MOBB, Cookbook and Diet, Frankie. Where can people get it? Where can people learn more about you? Where can they follow you? The floor is yours.
Okay, you can get the book on Amazon to make it easy, or you could go to Our MOBB. That's MOBB. Again, MOBB with 2Bs.com. And there's all kinds of information. You can follow me. We've got over 40 different videos, and we believe in helping people. That's our goal.
You can also follow Frankie Spice Morelli over on Instagram. That's RMOB, 2Bs and MOB _official. RMOB _official. Follow him on Instagram. It's Y105.